identify individuals who are doing great stuff. We identify individuals who are enterprising in the community, but also we try to look out for stakeholders, individuals who are committed to doing service through social, economic, or any other initiatives, and bring them on board to ensure that we explore the ideas they are working on, the issues they are tackling. Tonight, I'm honored to have a young person, Verona Najuko. Verona's journey is quite interesting. Verona has actually migrated to the US as a young child. We'll hear more about her story. And what fascinated me about her story is what she's actually dedicated toward doing. She's committed to assisting young people like her be able to progress through their careers in different ways. Tonight, we'll have the opportunity to hear more about her story. But I will start with asking Verona to say hello to the viewers. Verona.
Hi, everyone watching, and thank you, Mr. Rogers, for bringing me here. And hi to everyone watching. My name is Verona Najuko, and I am 16 years old, and I'm a junior at Boston High School. It's in Dorchester. And I live with my parents and my siblings. And I like dancing, I like music. Yeah, that's like me.
Oh, okay, that's interesting. So I've heard a lot about what you're doing, but let's start with your story. Who is Verona? Because a lot of people see you see among the community, among us. It's always challenging for individuals to come up with initiatives and be able to drive them to success. But aside from that, I want to paint a picture of who you are. Where did you grow up and which schools did you go to?
I grew up in Machinje Salama, and I went to Sao Paulo Kagua Mengo for my kindergarten, my primary school until P7. And then after I did my PLE, I thought I wanted to go to Gayaza, but it didn't work out. I went to Marcos, and then after Marcos, I studied there for 1 year of senior one, and then I migrated to the US. And I've been here for like 3 years.
3 years.
Yeah.
Now you've mentioned Marcos.
Yeah.
They are in the audience as well as some individuals here who may not have an idea what Marcos is. What
Marcos is Makerere College School.
Okay. So you went to Marcos.
Yeah.
And it was during or after your S1 that you moved to the US?
I went there for only Form 1, only 1 month.
1 month?
Yeah.
So you didn't really, you proceeded to complete your high school studies here, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I came here when I was like 13.
What was that experience for you?
Honestly, I really thought America was going to be the one we see in the movies, and it's totally not the one.
Yeah.
It's very different. But I have to say, in the schools I went to here, because I came in 8th grade, the schools I went to, I didn't experience any type of bullying, thank God. Everyone was nice, but yeah, it was really nice, honestly.
What are some of the challenges? Because I know the highlights, we'll talk about those. I like to know the challenges, especially as a young immigrant. I would consider you to be as such.
Yeah, the challenges were to make friends. Honestly, until this year, I didn't have any friends. To be honest, I did not have any friends. I was always in the house with my siblings, with my best friend, Joe. Joe is my best friend at home.
Who is Joe?
Joe is my youngest brother.
Oh.
And we talk, we play around, but that's the only friend I had. It's very hard to relate to these people here. They're weird, honestly.
Yeah.
They're very weird, and to me, it was very hard to connect and then make friends. Yeah.
Okay. So now you are in the US. You were, was it 13?
Yeah, I was 13.
13. So what was the school life here as compared to the Ugandan life for you?
Honestly, school life was way better.
Here?
Here. School life here was way better.
That?
Because here teachers are actually very caring. in Uganda, you fail a test, orimbuzi. Here, when you fail a test, it's like it's on the teacher. Like the teacher failed you, and that's honestly that's what it's supposed to be. But in Uganda, it's really not. It's like you're the failure. You're making your family look bad. Yet it's kind of sometimes the teacher's fault. But here, the teachers are really caring. They talk to you. If you fail a test, they're like, oh, do you want to make corrections? And then they actually give you credit for those corrections. So it's way better.
Oh, that's interesting. So tell me about some of the things that interest you before we get into what you're doing.
The things that interest me.
I know you're a dancer, you said.
Yes.
Right?
I'm a self-taught dancer. I always liked music, but I never really went to like studios and then go practice my moves. So I always went to YouTube, I always went to Instagram, and then I copied what they were doing. So I taught myself, and until now I still do the same thing. And yeah.
So that's how you perfect your skill.
Yes.
Do you go to TikTok? Because I know that.
Yeah. I do TikToks, but I make them privately. Like they're on my private. I don't really post it, to go out there.
Oh.
Yeah.
What is the fun in that?
Because, like, I don't know. I fear what the public is going to say, to be honest.
I don't think they will judge you badly. So
you'll be very surprised. You'll be very surprised. Okay.
So now, I learned that you are actually invested in supporting young people like you.
Yes.
In being able to strive career-wise. Because I personally believe that it's a challenge. It's a challenge in a lot of ways, because when you're growing up, you're confused. I remember as a young child, I used to think I'd be a pilot. I've never gone anywhere near a plane or even attempting to fly one. So that in itself manifests the challenges we go through. And for me, I think that this is really very empowering. So firstly, how did you come up with this idea? What motivated you to do that?
Thank you for asking that question, because it was a very funny story. It wasn't to create Generation Z, it wasn't my first thought.
So Generation Z is the name of the organization?
Yes, Generation Z is the name. And it wasn't my first thought, but it was during quarantine. Everything was closed, no one was going to church. And me personally, if I don't go to church, I kind of feel disconnected with God. So I was like, you know what, I think there should be people like me, people in my age that feel that kind of way. So I talked to my friend, and then my friend was like, do it. So I created that group, I put it on my status, and people joined, and then people who joined added other people. It was a blast. So one day I was washing dishes, and then I thought, you know what, God wants us to be successful in everything we do. So that's how the Generation Z thought came. And then I went to my dad. My dad had a bigger picture more than what I pictured in my head. He was like, oh my God, you can't even create a website, you can't even do this. I was like, I didn't think of that. But then that gave me so much hope, and I went for it. So, and then I went to my mentor, Judith, and she talked to me. She told me the pros and cons, and then she was like, do it. And then since I already created the group, the church group kind of, for the young people, I introduced it, and everyone was more than welcoming to join, and they liked the idea.
Okay, so I meant to understand, you have different groups of people you work with. I mean, first and foremost, what age groups are you focusing on?
Right now, we're focusing on the groups of ages around 14 to 21.
Why?
Because around 14 and 21, you're still figuring things out. And I'm not saying that if you're 22, that's when you got your life together. No. Right now, I'm also still confused, to be honest. But the young people who are yet to figure out what they want to do in their career paths, and 21, the young people who are in the workforce and maybe would want more information about careers or would want to change their majors in the future.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah. What about geographic areas? What areas are you focused on and why?
So far, my biggest audience has been in Uganda. Thank you guys for supporting me. And I do want it to be both the Ugandans who are here in Boston or whatever diaspora, and Ugandans who are in Uganda right now.
Okay, why do you think it's important for Ugandans who are outside, who are actually in Uganda, as well as those groups here?
Because,
have you thought about that?
Yeah, okay. I did, because at the end of the day, we all have the same parents. I've seen this a lot in Ugandan communities. Parents tend to pressure their kids to go for STEM studies, and STEM I mean sciences, technology, engineering, and math, right? But sometimes it's not their children's strengths, and sometimes children are not good at those things, and they kind of pressure them to do this kind of stuff, this kind of studies. And I feel and I think that in the future, everyone wants to wake up and then go to work and then be like, you know what, I'm happy with what I'm doing. Not just because, oh, I'm doing this for my parents, I'm doing this for my mom. Of course, sometimes circumstances are different, but I really wanted for people to do what they want and do what makes them happy. And
you feel like those confusions or the challenges are among students in Uganda as well as among students here.
Yes.
Because we have the same parents who are share the same experiences.
Yes.
I remember my parent while growing up wanted me to study law, and that pushed me to go to law school. Even though I wasn't passionate, I hadn't even ever thought about it. I told you my hope was to be a pilot. You see, a pilot, an ideal pilot ending up in law school is totally different, you know.
Yeah,
so I share that concern, and I'm glad you've thought about it. So, the other thing is, so you got here and thought about doing this. So, what have been some of the challenges you've encountered doing this kind of work? Are there any at all?
Yes, they are.
What are some of them?
The challenges are, I think, reaching out to people, mostly people in Boston. It's very hard. Like I said, I don't have a lot of friends, honestly. So it's been really hard for me to reach out to kids my age who are in Boston, and then also because I would send the link to people, but people would say, yes, I would come, yes, I will come, but they don't come. So there is that. And then the Zoom payments. I've been like paying for my Zoom, and Zoom is expensive. But I do work. I work and I pay for it. But
I was about to ask, do you have a job? Because you're 16.
Yes, I have a job. I work at CVS Pharmacy, but sometimes balancing work, school life is very hard. So that also gets into the way.
This is interesting. So you are a student.
Yeah.
You're working. You're also working on this project, and you're using your hard-earned money to do whatever you're doing.
Yeah.
You don't have any sponsorships presently?
Right now, I do not have any sponsorships because I've been doing it alone because I believe in this. That's why I do use my hard-earned money, all those hours to pay for the Zoom because I'm really passionate about this and I do think it's going to work.
Okay, so now let's look at the young people that you have been working in, or you're rather working with.
Yeah.
What are some of these careers they are thinking about or contemplating about?
Like I told you before, people are still figuring out things, but the most careers they're talking about is aerospace, forex, actually stocks, business, because you have to know how to balance your own money, your cash flow and everything. Doctor, medicine, those kind of things. Those are like the most popular ones.
So your conversations are usually focused on looking at the career paths, or how somebody can actually be able to get into those fields. What areas are you looking at? What is your focus?
So Generation Z is like a youth platform that I created to inspire different conversations around different career paths. So when I do invite a person, they have to be sometime. Okay, let's say I invite a doctor, they have to love what they do, and then after they can explain how they got there, what were the challenges, and why do they think it's worth it.
So basically you bring somebody who is in the footsteps these individuals are interested in getting into, to share their experiences, to share how they were able to progress from one step to another.
Yes.
How has that worked out?
So far, it actually worked out really good. I've had three guests, and the first guest I had was actually an Instagram influencer, which was so cool, because so many people actually want those kind of things, but they don't know how to. And she's working on she's starting like a clothing line, and she told us how she got there and how like her job affects her daily life, and yeah, those kind of things. It was really cool.
What are some of the other guests that you've had? And what areas are they focused in?
I've had Mr. Rogers.
No, I didn't know you were going to mention me.
I've had Mr. Rogers, and he was talking about business and how to manage your money, and how to spend, how to know your cash flow, and how to save.
Oh,
it has been a popular one, and people have loved it. I've hosted you twice.
Okay, yeah, thank you. I'm glad to hear that.
And the latest one I've had is Forex.
Forex.
Yeah. He was focusing on Forex, telling people. He didn't really go in depth with it because stocks is very broad.
Yeah.
And so he was just like talking about how they work. If you see like, how the Forex board works, sometimes they go high, sometimes they go low. What does that mean? Those kind of stuff.
Okay, that's interesting, because the areas you talk about, I think, are critical. When we look at the stock or Forex, these are new initiatives that a lot of people are actually getting into, and I think that broadens young people's understanding of what is actually available, rather than just focusing on I want to be a doctor, because we are not going to have everyone be a doctor.
Exactly.
I want to be a pilot, because we won't have everybody. We don't have so many planes for the entire country entire population to fly, right? So the other thing I'd wanted to look at is you talked about raising money. Have you thought about reaching out to the community to see what kind of support is available? If you haven't, have you considered it at least?
Yes, I have considered it, and that's why I'm on your show, because I do want people to help me out with spreading the word, mostly here in Boston. I want to spread the word to young people who are here that I haven't reached out to, so that they can come and join me and other students who are in Generation Z, because I feel like this is a very, very important group that they should join. And and graphic designing. Yeah, to make posters, online posters and physical ones where you can print out.
Okay, so let me first make a pledge. You see, while we continue exploring or hearing about Verona's conversation, I think it's just occurred to me that as parents in the community, as stakeholders, members of this community, this is a great initiative for us to support. A lot of us or community members out there have children, and we are consistently figuring out or struggling with finding ways we can keep them engaged. I personally think that initiatives like these are relevant in a lot of ways. I think that you mentioned you need some individuals to support with the organization, right?
Yeah, I did.
So if we have individuals who are actually working, figuring out through supportive roles, or even just participating as members who receive services from the organization, we may be able to help our children be able to explore the ideals that are out there and be able to actually hear from these community experts that are within the community, right?
Right.
Okay, so possibly you haven't thought about the budget. I know in our conversation you talked about ways of communicating and engaging. You've been using email. What alternatives are you looking at?
Right now I'm looking at...
You could first speak about how you've been engaging, because I know I'm preempting that, but I just want to make sure those listeners are actually following the conversation.
Yes.
So what have you been using, and what other ways do you hope to continue engaging?
Thank you. I've been using WhatsApp, and I've been using my email. My email is verena.najuko@outlook.com, and I've been using my Instagram page to reach out to people.
Yeah, you could say the email again.
My email is verena.najuko@outlook.com. You
want to spell that out because people have a problem spelling out Kiganda names.
It's VERONANAJJUUKO@outlook.com.
People still use Outlook?
Yes, old people like us. And my Instagram is still my name, Verona, VERONA @Najuko, NAJJUUKO.
Okay. So what other forms of communication are you looking at as alternatives in the meantime?
I've been looking at Facebook since the people I'm targeting don't really use Facebook, but I know the adults who are willing to help me out do use Facebook, and Facebook is used by every company and every organization. So I was looking at start up my Facebook page.
Is it going to be the first Facebook page for you?
Definitely not.
Oh,
it's not.
Have you had one before?
Yes, I did, but I deleted it because it's for old people.
Oh wow. Okay. So you are utilizing the other platforms. Which platforms are for young people presently?
Presently, it's TikTok, #1 app, Instagram. I think I'm the only one who uses Outlook, Snapchat definitely, and Twitter too. I use Twitter. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So let's look at what. So I know you created this in a way of empowering people. What is you talked about challenges of specifically the diaspora community here in the US. Yeah. What do you think parents should do? Because we could have parents listening in right now. And I think you may want the parents to be allies in these initiatives. So what kind of call do you have for parents that are out there?
The call I want for parents, the call I'm calling out to parents is I want them to support and nurture their children's dreams, because even though you want your child to pursue a certain career that you feel like is good for conversations with your peers, instead of what they actually want, I want them to support their children's dreams and to be happy that they're going for such a career, and to be supportive along the way, and to tell them to join my group, Generation Z.
And in part, I support you because I feel like there are a lot of people who have actually succeeded by not necessarily doing those other things.
Yes, and like the most people who are successful, Jeff Bezos, they're all school dropouts, honestly. Mark Zuckerberg.
I'm not encouraging people to drop out.
Definitely not. Definitely not.
So you've talked about Bezos, and mentioned Amazon.
Yeah, Mark Zuckerberg.
Facebook.
Tesla. He dropped out.
Yeah.
All these successful people decided to go their own way, and they made it unique, and it sold people and they're now rich.
So your goal is that parents should encourage their children to explore different opportunities out there.
Yes.
Because they may by just insisting their students, their kids, pursue specific areas, maybe they're undermining their opportunity to do better, to become the Bezos of this world, the Zuckerberg of this world, right? Who created Facebook, which is $1 billion worth company. Yeah. Same with Amazon, same with Tesla, right? So yours is that we should be able to encourage these opportunities, right?
Yeah, because I want children to go to university and actually have enough information to make a decision. Because sometimes you can, like me, when I'm going to start college, I might look at all these majors and I'm like, no, I don't know what this is. So if you actually get this information now and you know what you're going in for, you can be like, okay, yes, I let me go for medicine, or yes, let me actually be a dancer, you know? Yeah, that's what I want. Because
there are people who earn through dancing.
Exactly.
And they're doing better.
Exactly. And they're making millions. Millions and millions.
Oh, that's good. So now, have you thought about a website? And what resource could that be, if you have?
Yes, I did think of a website because I think it would be better to invite guests through the website. If you're out there and you want to reach out to these young people, these youthful young people, and you want to tell them about what you do, tell them about the struggles, tell them about what you love to do, I would like to use that website to just for people to sign up and come be on our platform.
Yeah. So now that call is to individuals who are willing to share their experiences with the groups that you're working with, right?
Yes.
Have you considered going into other countries? I mean, not only Ugandan youth, but maybe Kenya, Tanzania. You could start with countries that are nearby Uganda: Rwanda, Kenya, Tanzania, South Sudan. Have you contemplated on that? Or you haven't? It's okay if you have not.
I did actually, because I have a friend in Kenya, and I did talk to him about it, and then he was like, yeah, I think I should reach out, but I haven't really gone deep into it.
But I'm considering it.
Yeah.
Okay, that's good. Likewise, I think that for me, I think that this is a fascinating idea, because getting younger people involved in their own affairs is very significantly important. Sometimes we don't realize that when we impose ideals on young people look at us as older people. They look at our ways as the older ways.
Yeah.
So seeing younger people getting involved in their own affairs, for me, it's fascinating, because if we can start conversations that way, I think there are a lot of changes we are very likely to bring on the table. So I know we talked earlier and you haven't considered a budget, but right now there could be a lot of people watching us, observing what we are doing, and they are curious to see how they are going to be able to help. What kind of skills are you interested in? And the other thing is, if at all somebody wanted to expand these ideals that you are putting together, what areas would you like support in?
Thank you so much for that question. I would like the skills that I was looking into were graphic designing, video editing, because I would like to do. We started a YouTube page actually. I forgot to talk about it. We do have a YouTube page, but it's not the quality. It's on. I think it can do better. So video editing, and I think that's it for now.
So video editing
and graphic designing.
Yes. And perhaps you may. What about if there are individuals who have certain professions? Maybe they are doctors. Maybe they are teachers. Or individuals in whichever
dancers.
You talk. Dancers. Yes. You benefit from that.
I will.
What about some of those? Which other areas do you think could be relevant with the groups that you're working with, given their interests?
I think, honestly, I'm not really like
particular.
Yeah, I'm not being specific. It's just what I want the people who want to actually come on my platform. I want them to love what they do. I want them to be Ugandan, to kind of share the same background with my audience so far. Because, you know, if you have a Ugandan and then you're also talking about Ugandan, they know the struggle.
They can relate.
They can relate with the audience. That's what I like. And they're black, you know, since like we're all black, so I'd like it to be. So
you feel like the aspect of somebody who looks just like them could be empowering in itself?
Yes, and I feel like today as the world, I feel like, I mean, sometimes being white can give you more privilege, honestly, than the black people. So you can be talking about what you do, you love your job, but still there's some, you still have some privilege than what my audience actually can get. Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting, because you bring in a social aspect that is rarely looked at, and I think that that is a very important point to explore. Perhaps one day we can go in full details and learn or share more about that. But now, presently, what is your budget? Oh, ideal budget. Now, because I want you to think about that for a moment, because a lot of people are hearing, including this studio. Individuals may be interested in supporting your cause. So I know perhaps you're working in stages because you've been working by yourself. That's okay, but they may be interested in figuring out how they can be able to support. We've looked at other ways they can contribute, but what about financially? For anybody that is interested in supporting you financially, what should they be looking at?
My budget, as I was thinking, my budget is $500 for now.
$500.
Yeah, because I don't really spend a lot. I haven't been spending a lot, only like paying for Zoom. And now I was thinking paying for ads, you know, for people to go out there. I think they should be paid. So I think $500 is my budget for now. I think it will grow bigger though. So
as the responsibilities increase.
Yes.
And as the team grows and look at various ideas, right?
Yes.
Okay. So anything else you want to talk about that we haven't looked at? It could be your childhood story. It could be some experience here. Tell us about your job.
What job, actually?
How many do you have?
I have many jobs.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I do. I have 2 jobs. Well, my school, Christere High School, we have a weird kind of system. So we go to school 4 days, and then 1 day in a week we go to a real job. I've been lucky. I've always wanted to be a lawyer, actually, but and I actually was very lucky enough. As a freshman, I went and I was an intern in a law firm, but it didn't go well, and I was actually laid off. But it had me because I asked them what did I do, but they didn't give me like a correct feedback that you did this. So I think it was mostly about stress, honestly, because I didn't do anything wrong. But that really hurt me, and then I thought, you know what, I can't do anything, you know, I don't know what I should do. So I was thinking of being an engineer, and because I liked math. So they now placed me in a construction company. It's called Gilbane Building Company, and it's been the best experience I've had. The workers there are really loving, they're really supportive, and they're mostly young people too. They can tell you, since I'm looking at colleges, I can ask them, oh, so how how is this college? How is this college? You know, they can give me tips. And yeah, so.
Oh, that's interesting. So there are two things I've heard.
Yeah.
We are going to first explore one.
Okay.
The court. Was it court?
Where
were you doing? It was a law firm.
Yeah.
So you talked about the outcome. Your concern was they lay you off, but nothing is really explained.
Yes.
And you still wondered why.
I'm still wondering why.
Did you make any attempts to ask?
Yes, I did. We have an account manager at our school. I reached out to her. I was like, can I please talk to them so that they can tell me what I did wrong? She was like, they don't want to talk to you. They just said communication skills. I'm like, what communication skills? Can you explain? But they never said anything. I
understand. So, and I think that this is very important. And I think that this is why we may have to have these conversations, because aspects like that may come out, and if we don't have ways to perhaps talk about these conversations, maybe entities may not know how to be able to approach such subjects. Because I feel like if that happened to me, it would hurt my feelings not only, but it would also destroy my confidence in the area. It did. Yeah. So now, that aside, now I know you're doing better at the do you hope to become a construction engineer?
Definitely not. Not at all.
But you seem excited about it.
Yes, I am, because, you know, I wake up every day, you know, because I work Wednesdays now. I wake up every Wednesday. I'm very happy to go to my job, because even though I don't want to be an engineer or anything connected to construction, but the people there, you know, they're very welcoming. But like I said, I have two jobs. I'm very interested in the medical field. I still don't know what I want to do, but that's why I work at CVS Pharmacy. I mean, I'm a cashier for now, but when I'm 18, I hope to transfer to the pharmacy and be a pharmacy technician, hopefully.
Have you started exploring what that looks like, and perhaps what the requirements are?
Yes, I did, but they told me to tell me more additional information. I still have to be 18. I don't know why, but they haven't told me much. They haven't told me like deep stuff.
Okay, but you've got your feet in,
yes,
and you feel like you're building upon whatever opportunities that are coming your way.
Exactly.
Okay,
yeah,
that's good. So what advice would you have for a young, I would say young adult, like you're not yet an adult, you're 16.
Yeah.
Perhaps what advice would you have for a young person just like you, who is out there, but they haven't perhaps started working, or they haven't had the opportunity to start exploring some opportunities that come their way?
What I would tell them is don't give up, and just because someone said that, just because you've had a little setbacks here and there doesn't mean it's the end of the world. You're still young. You're still only 16. Let me hope you're 16. You're still young, and there's a lot to figure out, and it's not the end of the world. And sometimes we ignore the small opportunities, but there are always opportunities in front of you. Like me, even to getting all those jobs or getting into that high school, I actually didn't even want to go to that high school, but there are always small opportunities, and just take your time and try to see those opportunities, honestly.
Try to look out for opportunities, because they're always there.
They're always there.
If you demotivate yourself, of course, you're not going to see them.
Yeah.
What has kept you going? Because I know after the other frustration, perhaps you would have said, no, I don't want to do this. What kept you going?
My family has kept me going. My mom, my dad, my siblings my siblings are very smart people. My sister does electrical engineering. My brother is pursuing to being an architect. So they're all smart people, and that gives me so much confidence. Like, you know what? I'll be there one day. one day, you know. So my family and God.
And God.
Yeah, definitely.
Which church do you go to?
I go to Waltham SDA Church.
So you're Seventh-day Adventist.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. As I'd mentioned to you, we brought Verona in part because of what she does, because of what she represents as a young person, a 16-year-old, who is invested in helping fellow young people in exploring the opportunities that are out there through focusing or engaging in conversations that are pertinent to careers. You see, these are difficult conversations to have. I remember when I first came to the US and I decided to go back to school and start afresh. I was at Middlesex Community College and I was meeting with a career counselor. This is the first time I had the opportunity to engage with a career counselor, and they were asking me what I should be doing. My hope, I gone to the office because I thought they'd be telling me what to do. So that in itself is a clear example of the confusion that actually exists among young people. I wasn't younger, but I know that the confusion is much wider when it comes to young people. And I think that for parents who are watching this, it's critical to engage, to let your kids explore these opportunities. Let them have conversations about these things, because in so doing, you do not know how much they will be able to learn and be able to do better when the situation occurs. So currently you go to school. Which schools have you considered going to once you're done with high school?
Like I said, I'm very fascinated with the medical field, and I'm very interested in the BSMD program. I don't know if you know it.
No, I do not. You should tell me.
So the BSMD program is technically, you know how to go into medical school, you have to like do undergrad, and then after you have to take the MCAT, and then after then you join medical school, and that. So if you enter the BSMD program, it's technically you've done all that. So it depends on which school, which college you want to go to, but it ranges from 6 years to 8 years. So if you enter that program, you're already in medical school. Though some schools kind of make you do the MCAT, which doesn't. But the MCAT is an exam that helps you enter the medical school. But the schools that I was looking at is Brown University
in Rhode Island.
Yes.
You want to go away from your family? I don't think they are happy hearing that. Have you talked about it with them?
Yes, I did. My dad still tells me, look at schools in Boston, look at schools in Boston. But I tell him, Rhode Island is very near here. I can maybe take the train or
drive.
You're
now 16.
Yes, I'm 16.
Yeah.
I can drive, or I can sleep on the campus, but we still haven't really gotten a deep conversation. But I was looking at Brown University, I was looking at Boston University, since it also has that kind of program. And
also there are specific institutions that have the program.
Yeah, not all schools have them.
Okay.
And Nevada, it was a school in Nevada, but that's kind of far.
Yeah.
I don't know if my
Nevada,
family.
that's Las Vegas.
Yeah.
Hey. Okay.
Yeah.
And what have they said about it?
My parents, they're supportive. They're like, you go for it. We know you can do it. So yeah, they're okay with the program.
So you usually have conversations about these things?
Yeah, we talk about it all the time. It's my dad's favorite topic, definitely.
Academics.
Yes. Everything about that, he's your guy. He likes talking about that stuff. He's like my brother wants to do pilot. Actually, he wants to be a pilot, but my dad is like, you can do aerospace. Aerospace engineering is also good. I've heard.
Okay.
And he always helps us to see higher.
So how does having a conversation with your parent in regard to these make you feel?
It makes me feel confident. It makes me feel like I actually know what I want. At times, it makes me feel like comfortable because you're talking to your dad and then you're giving you information. So yeah, it makes me comfortable and more confident.
Do you feel like it would have been different if you had not had these conversations?
Yeah,
in exploring this.
Yes, I would feel more alone because finding colleges and finding the right career for you, it's very hard. So it's very hard to do alone. So I think it would have been way more difficult if we didn't have these conversations.
Okay. All right. So while we plan on concluding this, I'd like to know how many young people are you engaging currently, both in the US as well as Uganda? Active and non-active. Because I know you mentioned that there are individuals who, of course, plan to come, but they don't show up. But then there are those who are consistently there.
Yeah.
So how many ideally are you working with?
Should I tell the whole category or like,
the whole category?
The whole, it'll be like 125 people.
125.
Yeah.
Active ones?
No.
Active ones, how many are active currently?
Active ones are like 25.
25.
Yeah.
So the other 100 are reluctant.
Yeah, they're like
lukewarm. Lukewarm.
Yeah.
So perhaps those some of the individuals you may find other ways to be able to engage.
Exactly.
And the additional stuff would mean exploring other ways that you can get the 100, get out of the lukewarm stage
to be active,
to becoming active.
Yeah.
Awesome. So while we continue to or we get to the conclusion, toward getting the conclusion of this conversation, I wanted us to actually learn about how it's important for parents to continuously engage with our kids. Sometimes we think that they actually have it figured out, or the schools they are at are helping them figure out these things, which may be or may not actually be true or realistic. And the conversations we have can actually help build momentum for these conversations to thrive once the kids are engaging with the experts in the schools they are a part of. So it's important. It's very, very important for us to engage with our children. Speak about it. Doesn't matter if a kid is 10, 12, or 15 years old. They are not young. Fortunately, in today's world, we are in the communication era. Information is readily available. And so even if you're not very knowledgeable about something, go read about it, share the little that you've learned about it, and maybe broach the subject so that you can give them the opportunity to start thinking about it. And so that said, I'd like to ask Verona to give us any last comments about anything and everything.
The last comments I have, I forgot to mention this, but ideally when I was before creating Generation Z, I was thinking of 3 things of adding into, when I did create the church group, I thought of 3 things adding, because I didn't want it to be like any other church group. I wanted it to be interactive. I thought of Generation Z, and I thought of therapy sessions, kind of. And honestly, okay, those were 2. Sorry, 2.
There were 2.
Yeah, and the therapy sessions were, of course, everyone has been lonely since quarantine, and some people are the only child at home. They don't have any friends. Friends can't move, so they're just lonely.
And they don't have phones.
They don't have. Some have phones, but they don't have phones, and it's just sad. They can't even talk to their parents because they don't have that kind of communication like you talked about. So that kind of makes them feel depressed, makes them feel lonely. So I wanted to create a therapy sessions where you can, there's always a therapist available for the people, for the young people, to talk to and tell them how they're feeling. Talk about their feelings, talk about what they want to do, and to just have that kind of person who wouldn't judge you. Because if you talk to a parent, of course, a parent needs to tell you, oh, no, they're always...
Their intention is to keep you in line.
Exactly.
Because they are parents.
Yes. Yeah. So there's some conversations you can't have with your parents, but you can have with a therapist. So I wanted to have that, and Generation Z.
Okay. Now, have you abandoned the idea of that?
Definitely not. I wanted to focus on one thing. I did try to make it, but it didn't work out like I expected, so I just put my energy into Generation Z.
Okay. So, by the way, thank you so much for sharing your story.
Thank you.
I hope that you'll be able to come back and tell us how you're progressing. I hope that a lot of people that have actually been part of this have learned a thing or two, and some are willing to reach out. I think that you could use some financial support as well.
Yeah.
The 500, instead of coming from your paycheck, I'd rather you can get that money and maybe concentrate on doing this. And at this point, I'd like to urge our viewers, our listeners, to kindly support this initiative. If there is any other thing you may be able to contribute in any way, please feel free to let Verona know. I'll ask her to share her information, and once again, so that you can find out how you'd be able to reach her and be able to engage, but also give advice. You may not be able to support financially, but you may be able to give advice that could actually be relevant in the initiative. So, Verona, you have the platform. I'd like you to share your contact information because it is vital for them to reach out to you, but also to be able to engage with you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So, if you are a guest,
and you can look into the camera, because they are right there. Yeah.
If you're out there and you want to be a guest to my platform, please email me at veronajjuuko@outlook.com. And if you're a young person and you're out there and you want to join us, the youthful informational platform, please check my Instagram. Send me a DM at Verona, Verona Najjuuko, Najjuuko. And if you want to give me advice, please email me. I really respond and I reply to all my DMs. So I'll be more than happy to talk with you and to share ideas.
All right. Thank you so much, Verona.
Thank you.
It has been a pleasure having you here. I think you empower young people in a lot of ways than you can imagine. You actually have motivated me. You've empowered me in a way because at your age, I do not think I did half the things you've done, not even a quarter. And I think that we need this in a lot of ways. We need it in our community. We need it simply because of who we are. And I think that I'm really so proud of you. Please keep doing the work you do, and let us know whatever support you need. We'll be there. So thank you for coming.
Thank you so much.
All right. Bye-bye. Thank you for joining us tonight. It has been our moment with the catch-up. As I told you earlier, while we were beginning, catch-up is our Epic Front segment. Epic Front is where we talk about topical issues that have taken place during the course of the week. But catch-up is when we engage stakeholders within the community. Individuals we are working with in a lot of ways, individuals that are committed to doing a lot of things in the community, stakeholders, it could be policymakers, it could be politicians, it could be businessmen. We bring them to have conversations, to explore different ideas, different issues that are taking place in the community, and also find ways we can be able to be a part of them, be able to support them, or contribute in any way possible to those situations. We thank you for always joining us, and good evening once again. Your host is Rogers Muyanja, and we'll see you next Saturday at 5:30 p.m. Enjoy your evening and good night.